out working
asked a simple
without
yes
pay
or no
right
question.
now because you voted
Mr.
to
Chairman.
shut down.
There's a moment in every oversight hearing when the conversation quietly stops being about policy and starts being about power. Not the loud kind, the procedural kind. Who gets questioned? Who deflects? Who changes the subject, and why? That's what made this exchange matter. Not because voices were raised, but because the discussion drifted away from institutional accountability and into something more familiar: accusation as distraction. Only after that shift does it help to name the people involved, Senator Alex Padilla and Attorney General Pam Bondi, and to look closely at the moment where the hearing turned. Padilla's core argument was straightforward. He wasn't alleging one rogue decision, he was alleging a pattern. Pressure on career prosecutors, ethics oversight moved closer to political control, investigations involving the president's allies quietly revisited or dropped, and enforcement priorities reshuffled in ways that leave other missions under-resourced. Those are systemic claims. They're not answered by listing arrests or seizures. They're answered by explaining process, safeguards, and independence. That's where the hearing broke down.
From independent career professionals and handed to political appointees with little experience in these matters. Internal working groups have been created to revisit investigations involving President Trump and his allies. And together, these steps send a dangerous message that prosecutorial decisions can be driven by political loyalty instead of the law. Now, even more troubling is that the Department of Justice has pulled resources away from organized crime, away from counterterrorism, away from the protection of civil rights, to focus on immigration enforcement. The American people expect a Department of Justice to pursue violent crime, as do I, to pursue corruption and threats to national security, not to serve as an arm of immigration policy, and in so doing, under-resource other critical missions. Now, the Justice Department's credibility depends on the public's faith in justice, and that the justice will be applied equally to every person and not reserved for the powerful or the connected. And that faith must be protected. And so it's in that spirit that this committee has a duty to ensure the department's work remains lawful, remains transparent, and remains true to its highest duty, the fair and impartial administration of justice. Now, that being said, I do want to get into some specific items with Attorney General Bondi here, beginning with the firing of Michelle Beckwith. Michelle Beckwith was a 15-year career prosecutor with the Department of Justice. She prosecuted in her career some of the worst in my home state of California: sex traffickers, transnational terrorists, those who this administration claims to care about and be targeting, prioritizing in taking them off the streets. And it may surprise some to learn that Ms. Beckwith was unceremoniously marched out of her office and fired from her job in July of this year. Why? Not because she failed to do her job, quite the opposite. It was because she had the audacity to remind Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino that he was obligated to follow a court order and the Constitution in California. According to reports, she was fired less than 6 hours after she told Bovino he couldn't arrest people without probable cause. 6 hours. So my first question, Attorney General Bondi, is a simple yes-no question. Do you believe that government officials like Gregory Bovino are obligated to follow applicable court orders, whether they agree with them or not, yes or no?
First, Senator Padilla, you have gone on for over 5 minutes, and I wish that you loved your state of California as much as you hate President Trump. We'd be in really good shape then, because violent crime in California is currently 35% higher than the national average. Property crime in California is 18% higher than the national average. That should be something that we should be talking about and working together on, yet we're not. And no, this is important. You're talking about all these all of my agencies, and I want to let you know what DEA has been doing, and they are working hand in
Bondi,
hand
I
with Homeland
appreciate
Security.
that, and I'm gonna
No,
be
you
asking
can't go
some
on for
questions
5
for the
minutes and
record
criticize
as
my agents
well.
who are out working
asked a simple
without
yes
pay
or no
right
question.
now because you voted
Mr.
to
Chairman.
shut down the government. They're
Mr.
out
Chairman.
there working without pay.
Mr. Chairman, I asked a simple yes or no question. Attorney General Bondi is
DEA,
refusing to
4,500
respond. So
kilos
let
of
me move on to
fentanyl
the
and
next
50 million
topic.
fentanyl pills
Because
off the streets.
while under your watch,
FBI,
prosecutors
23,000
Mr. Chairman,
violent criminals. U.S. Marshals,
Mr. Chairman, order, please.
51,000 fugitives.
I'm trying to get. I'm not getting an answer to my question. I'm trying to move on to the next question or the next topic. Mr. Chairman, order, please. Thank you. Because under Attorney General Bondi's watch, career prosecutors are being fired for telling agencies to follow the law and uphold the Constitution. Meanwhile, there are instances of allies of the president who seem to be getting let off the hook. I won't reiterate what some of my colleagues have already brought up in terms of the dismissal of the investigation into Tom Homan and his alleged acceptance of $50,000 as payment by undercover FBI agents posing as business executives looking to secure contracts with a future Trump administration. Because if the reports are true, it's not just the underlying conduct of Mr. Homan, which would be absolutely unacceptable, but the dismissal of the investigation charges raises concerns about the influence of the White House on the Department of Justice. Again,
It wasn't about Padilla, and it wasn't really about Bondi. It was about whether the Department of Justice can explain itself without changing the subject. When that explanation never comes, trust doesn't collapse overnight. It just quietly drains away, one deflection at a time.